Okay, let's get right to it. It is Wednesday afternoon or right around 2 p.m. And of course, our main focus here is on the major winter storm now that is scheduled to hit our area. Timing of it, of course, still needs to be ironed out, but I'm thinking somewhere around 9 a.m. to noon is when the majority of the snow is going to start up here in our region. That would be eastern Minnesota and western Wisconsin, including the Twin Cities, Eau Claire, Rochester metro areas. But anyway, I think that's going to be at somewhere 9 a.m. to noon on Friday. And when it starts, it's going to hit hard. It's going to be quick, it's going to hit hard, and then it's going to last for quite a while, probably for a 6 to 12 hour period before finally letting up as we get into late Friday evening and Saturday morning, and then we would get periods of snow after that. All right, let's get right to the synoptics of this storm system. Take a look at what it has, what to work with, and of course, we're looking at the jet stream. This is the River of Air, up at about 30 to 35,000 feet, where the jets put her on cruise control. And this is for Friday morning now, and this is pretty impressive. What you're seeing is a very strong jet streak on the eastern coast of the United States, extending back northwest into the Great Lakes area. And on the right rear quad of that, which would be right in this area, is where lift would be fairly strong, if not really strong, as we get into Friday morning. Now, as we go through time, you can see that that jet streak pushes off to the east some, and then we start getting on the nose of this jet streak is what we start getting into as we get into Friday evening. So we're in between two jet streaks, and then we eventually get on the nose of this jet streak here that comes out of Kansas and into Iowa on Friday evening. And as you know, all these times that we've had these videos, you know that being in between the jet streaks is a good spot to be for lift. And this would be the area you would want to be located on Friday evening for significant snow. And of course, that includes eastern and southern Minnesota, much of Wisconsin on Friday evening. So, and then finally, as we head into Saturday afternoon, our jet dynamics become less favorable for snow because the most favorable area then is located right in the Great Lakes area on the left front quad or nose of the jet streak, which would be located in the Great Lakes area on Friday afternoon. So if we put all this together just from a jet stream standpoint, and the jet stream is extremely important, of course, you can see that we are in an area of favorable lift from Friday morning, which is this image, and then Friday afternoon and evening is beautiful jet dynamics for snow. And then we finally, as we get into Saturday morning, yes, we're still in a favorable area for snow on Saturday morning. Hence the reason why I'm thinking that this storm system is going to linger into Saturday morning. But we then quickly turn off the snow machine as we get into Saturday afternoon. So again, the jet stream looks very favorable for a significant snowstorm, not only on the European computer model, which is what we're looking at now, but also the American model, the Canadian model. All the medium range guidances have been showing this jet structure for really the past 2-3 days. Hence the reason why we have quite a bit of confidence in this storm system. Okay, this again is the European computer model guidance. We're just kind of looking at the potential for precipitation. I'm going to show you where the Twin Cities Metro is located. It's right here. Now watch what happens as we go through time. This is Friday morning, and of course this here is the area of precipitation now that is surging up out of the central and southern plains. There's going to be Gulf moisture surging north with this storm system on Friday morning, and that's why you see these showers and storms breaking out over Oklahoma and Kansas. Now watch this area of precipitation as it continues to surge north, so that by Friday evening, a fetch, and it's an impressive fetch of moisture, is going to be surging from south to north right through the heart of our region, right through southern central Minnesota and western Wisconsin. Hence the reason why we're expecting significant snows. And yes, it appears that for the most part, this is going to be all snow. And here it is. This is for Saturday morning even. You can see that the snow lingers a bit over eastern Minnesota and in western Wisconsin on Saturday morning before quickly pulling out. But this is definitely a situation where this should be all snow, and it should be quite a bit of it. Now, this is the GFS computer model guidance. These are the winds in the lower layers of our atmosphere. I'm going to show you one of the reasons why I'm so confident in significant snow here in Minnesota and Wisconsin. So this is another reason why, of course, we're putting a puzzle together right now on why we believe a snowstorm is going to occur. And this is another important aspect to a snowstorm. That is a strong southerly fetch of moisture coming up and riding up and over cold air. Now look at the winds at 850 millibars. We call this a low-level jet streak. We're talking about winds nearing 80 knots, 70 to 80 knots, flowing from south to north through Minnesota on Friday afternoon. And you can see that those low-level jet winds hang on and are fairly steady through even Friday evening. Okay, we finally start to lose that low-level jet as we get into Saturday morning. But the real story here is that with such strong winds coming up out of the Gulf of Mexico and riding up and over cold air, that is a perfect recipe for significant snow. In fact, if we look at the temperatures in the lower layers of our atmosphere, you can see that by Friday afternoon, we are still more than cold enough to support snow, because temperatures will be around -5 Celsius, which is kind of right around the mid to upper 20s Fahrenheit here in the lower layers of our atmosphere. So plenty cold enough to support snow. Now, we do get into a period late Friday night and Saturday morning where we could get just a touch of mixture, even in the Twin Cities metro and in the I-94 corridor into Wisconsin. But for the most part, we're going to stay cold enough in the lower layers of our atmosphere to support snow. And then, of course, look what happens as we get into this weekend and early next week. We get a dumping of major league bitter cold Arctic air that comes into our region. So after this snowstorm hits, there's no doubt that it's going to get cold, and we're talking about temperatures well below zero, especially with the fresh snowpack. Okay, here is future radar now. This is the future radar from the NAM-NEST computer model guidance, and you can see this is our anemic system that came through today that barely even produced any snow over the region. But watch what happens now as we get into Thursday, which is dry, of course, nothing happening. That's the day that we get a big break here. But watch what happens as we get into late Thursday night now and then Friday morning. You can see the moisture pooling and then surging north towards southern Minnesota. And then when we get to about 9 or 10 in the morning, excuse me, you can see that precipitation breaking out, and it's going to be pretty heavy right away over the southern half of Minnesota by about 10 or 11 in the morning. And then, of course, that snow just overspreads the whole region, so that by Friday afternoon and into Friday evening, we're likely going to be having heavy snows over much of our region, snowing probably at 1 inch to 1.5 inches per hour by about 3 to 6 p.m. on Friday evening, before the snow starts to taper at least a little bit on Friday evening. But still, we should be getting some snow, some accumulating snow, even into later Friday evening. And like I said, into Saturday morning too. Now, this is, I'm just going to show you the European computer model guidance for potential snow. Now, keep in mind, this is a 10 to 1 snow to liquid ratio. So when actuality, our ratio is going to be at about 12 to 1 or 14 to 1. But anyway, the 10 to 1 snow to liquid ratio from the European computer model is showing about 8 to 10 inches of snow over our region. That would include the Twin Cities, Eau Claire. Now, if we put the, I'm going to load this up here in just a little bit, but if we translate that to 12 to 14 to 1 snow to liquid ratio, we're going to be talking about snows in excess of 10 inches for much of the region. And some areas may even topple a foot of snow when all is said and done. In fact, I'm pulling this up now, and let me just put my cursor here and show you where the Twin Cities is located. Here you go. The European guidance is showing that by Saturday evening, about 10 to 12 inches of snow can be expected over the Twin Cities metro. That would include also Eau Claire, maybe even as far south as Rochester. But look at the expansive area of significant snow in excess of 8 inches. this is a wide piece of real estate that this storm system is going to be affecting, and it looks like, not surprising here, but it looks like that the Twin Cities Metro, the I-94 corridor extending east into Wisconsin, is going to be right near, if not in the bullseye, for the most significant snow. All right, we will be updating you, of course, a lot more on this storm system as we get into later tonight, tomorrow, and then, of course, Friday. I will be up with you guys, of course, watching everything unfold. Take care.